in my blog, I stated that I wanted to try some new things, like incorporating video into some of my blog posts. So here I am trying it out. So I will write on my blog about today's visit around Lilongwe, but there's something I want to talk about, and I think it's easier to tell in a story. Because. Anyway, so I love Malawi. I love it here. There are so many things that I have missed since we moved from here. And since my last visit, which my last visit was in 2019. So it was quite a while ago. My hair is a mess. Sorry about that. And I missed the people. The people are so wonderful, and it's such a beautiful country. The landscape is wonderful, and the weather is fantastic, especially in the hot rainy season when it's humid and rainy and beautiful, and it just smells like rain and trees, and it's so good. The one thing that I have not missed in the slightest is driving at night in Malawi. So tonight, after our visit in Lilongwe today, we tried to leave early enough that we wouldn't have to drive at night, but we did not. So we had to leave Lilongwe and drive the highway out to near Machinji. We are at the Chipama's home. This is where we're at. And so we started out, and the sun was starting to set. It was a gorgeous sunset, and there'll be pictures in my blog of that sunset, maybe even some videos of that. But as it got darker and darker, it just got more and more intense. I almost told Lewis, let's just stop and sleep on the side of the road because this is stressing me out way too much. So we set out, and I kind of have to set the stage of what it's like to drive on these roads. So you imagine this road. So you get on this road, and it's 2 lanes, one going one way, one going the other. And in Malawi, they do drive on the left side, which I'm going to say is the incorrect side. But that's only because some Malawians say they drive on the incorrect and that the right is the proper side. Anyway, so we drive on the left-hand side. So we're on this 2-lane road, and the edges of the road are kind of crumbling. So it's not there's not really a berm. There's not a shoulder. It's just crumbling edges of road and then dirt. And so that's what the road looks like. And then there are lines on the road, but they're not reflective, so you can't see them at night at all. And sometimes there's not even lines. Let's be honest about that. But that's not even the worst part. Also, no streetlights. Not a single one. Also, not the worst part. So we're driving down this road. It's getting dark. There are no streetlights. The roads are pretty narrow for the size of vehicles that are driving on them. And then, so on top of that nonsense, there are pedestrians who like to walk on the road at night without reflective gear, without flashlights, without anything, just in the dark. Bicyclists or cyclists riding their bikes, sometimes loaded with huge things of cargo. They will transport big bags of charcoal, they will transport stacks of wood. Sometimes I'm not even sure what they're transporting. Sometimes it's loads of chickens. I'll share pictures in the video in my blog. You'll just have to check that out. So there are these bikes, these cyclists. Also, there are people riding motorcycles. Only half the time do they have their lights on. Almost none of them wear helmets, and they just drive on the road way slower than cars do. Then there are trucks, lorries, big trucks, and half the time, they don't have their lights on, or sometimes they just, break down in the middle of the road, and you don't know that they're there because there are no, flares. They'll just put, tree branches in the road So you see these tree branches, you know there's going to be a broken down truck in the middle of the road. And then there are goats that just kind of like wander in and out of the road, and there are dogs shooting in and out of the road, and chickens. And so you've got the pedestrians and the bikes and the animals, and then sometimes there are ox carts. Just an ox cart moseying down the road with no lights, just taking up the lane. So tonight we were driving back, and we're so tense. Like, it was so tense because it's so dark and there's just people materializing out of the dark, and you don't see them until you're right on top of them. And then you have cars like trying to pass each other, but they don't have their headlights on. So you have like a car just barreling towards you in the middle of the night without their headlights on. Sometimes with their headlights on. But then they have like the audacity to be like honk at you when you flash your lights at them to like move out of your lane. I'm like, excuse me? That's our lane. What is happening? So anyway, we're on this highway. We're trying to drive. It's like an hour drive from where we were in Lilongwe. And there's this big lorry that we got stuck behind, and we were like, okay, we can go around. I think like it's clear to go around. We didn't see any lights. And usually if you're like the front car and somebody is trying to pass, you'll like indicate if somebody is coming by like putting down your turn signal. So if it's clear, you would put your left signal on so that they know like, okay, it's clear, you can go around. If you put your right signal on, it means that there are cars coming, do not go. So the truck did not indicate that there was like anything in the way. So we're like, okay, we're gonna go around this truck. So we're going around this truck, and there was an ox cart. We almost hit this ox cart. It didn't have any lights or anything. It was so stressful. I thought we were gonna die and kill 2 oxen. Thankfully, we didn't kill any oxen. We survived. We made it in one piece, even though I think it took us longer than it probably should have, because we were driving slower, because I'm terrified. And Lewis was not as terrified, but also not super stoked about driving at night in Malawi. So while I miss so much about this country, and I love it here so much, I don't miss that.